welcome to our Dream Builders podcast. You know, my host is doing the filming today, and so Josh was behind the camera. I get to introduce a couple of friends of mine. You probably know the guy to my far left here, Knolly Williams.
Good to see you again, brother. Good to be back.
Amazing agent and trainer with eXp Realty. Has been around, been my mentor. I've been learning so much from him the last few years. And I have the honor to introduce George Myers with Madison Properties.
Well, thanks for having us today, Bradford.
Who's joining us, and he has actually given me the honor of letting me sponsor him into eXp.
Well, I'm excited. I appreciate you being our sponsor and letting us come in.
Excited.
Our whole team's very excited to come over this month.
Yeah, you've been having a good time here in Vegas?
We have eXp Con. It's our first one. Yeah. It's been awesome. You know, Knolly's treated us great. You treated us great. You know,
and you treated us great.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
He treated us to a dinner as well.
I think the collaboration maybe kind of comes in there. You know, everybody benefits.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the collaboration in this group right here has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, the collaboration of this whole experience has been amazing. I mean, anything I've needed, anyone I've needed, any question I've had, everyone here, not just you all, I'm not taking the light off you all, but everyone here at eXp.
Absolutely.
No, we didn't, Knolly and I didn't create it. This came from the top.
Yeah.
Well,
Glenn Sanford's vision brought the people who are attracted to that, who love that thing, and just, he set it up.
Well, he's done a great job, and I mean, and everybody has just run with his thought and his dream and made it fruition. You know, it's just been great. I mean, like this morning, I got caught in the elevator and was talking to somebody just going down to get a drink, and I got caught talking to an eXp agent, and just, you know, we got off on a tangent about things, but they were just willing to help. As many conferences as I've been, because you know how many conferences I've been at for different industries and stuff, I've never seen
all those
one.
travel miles.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen one so collaborative as these. And this is my second one, you know, from doing the shareholder summit. You know, originally as an explorer, it's just been amazing. So I appreciate you.
Oh no, you have no idea.
Yeah.
So Knolly, what are you getting from this conference? What are you? You know, you've been to a ton of these things. You've been in this gig for a while. How long with eXp?
I've been here almost 5 years.
5 years
I've
after.
been 10 years. I was 10 years at Keller Williams, recruited there by Gary Keller, worked directly with him, loved every minute of it. Before that, I was 5 years at Remax, and so it's 20 years in the business, in this industry, and over 40 years as an entrepreneur. And I got to tell you, this right here, this model that we have, is the best one I've ever seen in business. Period. But what I'm super excited about is this guy right here, because anytime that we get to have someone with a kind of a mind that I'm into, like these beautiful minds.
Oh, he was just creating a whole new scenario on how to build business.
I'm telling you, it's a
out
beautiful
of where we're
mind.
at in the market.
It's a blessing and a curse. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, the visionary mind is always working and always running.
And here's the interesting thing: we were built for markets like this.
Yeah.
Because when the market is like good, it's not even a challenge.
Nope.
Like
you're an order taker.
Yeah.
You might as well go be a waiter or waitress. And I'm not picking on them.
It's not even exciting.
But yeah,
it's not
you're
even
just an order taker.
But
some people get excited about cashing the checks.
Yeah.
Well, we all do.
But
we all get that. But when you get to you just changed the game. You went to the hard level? Okay, well, let's go.
We did that 07, 08, and 09.
Yeah.
We've been there, done that.
You got my interest again.
Yeah.
And you know, so anytime we can collaborate with smart people like George, you know, here's a guy that owns multiple companies, very super successful on his own, doesn't need to partner with anybody.
Needs to read your book 3 hours a day.
Yeah, 3 hours a day.
They've been pushing me in the
leverage
office.
piece is.
Yeah, they've been pushing me in the office. Everybody's been.
But he's been doing leverage even before. But it's just taking that to that next level.
George is the kind of guy that the more leverage he gets, the more it opens up his time to do more stuff.
It's like a vacuum.
It is. That's a good way to put it. It's like a vacuum.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
So tell us what I'm interested in is tell us why eXp. So I know that you are the kind of guy. You're smart.
I appreciate that.
And you do your due diligence.
You're not just some.
Yeah, and then some. Why, after looking at what we offer, why did you say, hey, this is how I want to collaborate?
So I mean, I'll kind of tell you this. We had a lot of agents when we first started having this conversation. We were talking and looking at a couple different models. One was, you know, we're our own boutique brokerage. So we were already looking at one model where we diversify what we already had and add on these systems and do all these other things to support the team we had. And so when you start to look at that from a small scale, it gets very expensive.
Sure.
And so it's like we've worked all these years. I mean, this week is 13 years that we've been in business. So you look at this and you say, we're going to take 13 years worth of savings and try to reinvest it into this, and why do something what somebody else has already done? So we started looking at other models, and Bradford kind of called me at just the right time to have breakfast. And me and Bradford used to get together anyway. It wasn't just for this. And so when we started to look at this model, we could see from the beginning it was different. And the differences that we started to see from the beginning was, one, the collaboration. Number two, how things were set up to help the agent all the time.
Yeah.
The other thing was no boundaries. Boundaries without borders. So for us, where we live, we're on that Georgia, South Carolina, Florida border. And so for me, our business was organically starting to grow south into Brunswick and into the Midway and right there on that Florida line. And we've been kind of on the cusp of growing into South Carolina. But when you start to do that, it was no problem. You can do that. But you need to open 2 more brokerages, get 2 more brokerage licenses, 2 more E&O policies, 2 more sets of staffs, and all these different things. And it was just getting to be really cumbersome.
I remember one of your big questions was, so I can go to Charleston and open up there, and I got to do what? I said, make sure you're licensed in South Carolina, and go do what you got to do in Charleston.
Yeah. And the way I look at it is, and I don't disagree with everybody, real estate's local. So when you start to hear me say we're going to go to these other places, our thing was to get agents who were good in those areas and try to bring them into a company to service our existing clients. We have a lot of clients who are investors who want to be in Columbia, Brunswick. They want to be in Charleston, those other areas, and we don't want to see them going to another agent. So we wanted to build that because we understand that it's local. But with this, the boundaries, there was no boundaries at all. The other thing was, you were talking about with just a couple of cities we were discussing, over $9,000 in MLS fees, not for the monthly fees, just for the office initiations.
Wow.
Okay, but more than important than anything, when we started to look at this, we're a family-owned business, and we started to look this through, and we started to realize the benefit that our agents would get from this. Not just me, not just a brokerage, but talking about health insurance. I mean, we've been begging NAR and other places to give us health insurance, GAR, and they've come up with some solutions, but they're not very good solutions. And so health benefits, the ancillary benefits we get from different types of affiliations that they're giving us and everything else. The collaboration, the ability to go into the workplace system and talk to any agent anywhere in the country without them using the word proprietary. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many conferences you've been to and I've been to where somebody says, I'd love to tell you, but that's proprietary. Right. I mean, if I walk up to any one of the 50 agents we see in front of us right here and say, hey, can you tell me how you show property and how you sell property and what your secret is? They'd be like, we're going to need a chair, but let's do it.
And give me your email. I'll send you my
program.
Give
me your email. Exactly. It's fun.
That's just like.
I mean, I'll give you a great example. We left a mastermind together yesterday, and when I left, I got more text messages and phone calls yesterday.
Yeah.
Not for the collaboration. You know why? They couldn't find me a workplace.
That's right.
They wanted to share what they promised they would share.
Yeah, George isn't quite there yet.
Yeah. Well, they wanted to share what they said they would share.
Yeah.
And so we don't sign on until the 15th. I mean,
right.
So we're here, but we're not really there.
Right.
And so literally my phone started buzzing. And I was just, literally I stopped and I was like, I'm so blessed right now.
Yeah.
Really, I'm not saying that just to say that. I mean, I really do feel blessed with the way that everybody's come in with the open arms. Yeah. It feels like you're being hugged all day long.
It's interesting because when you start looking at a brokerage for how much can I save, what's my savings, or if this over here is like $6,000 less a year, it's a different perspective than looking at it from the point of, well, if I can collaborate with all these people, how many more deals can I could do another 20, 30, 40, 50 deals, or somebody can share an idea with me where I could create a whole separate side business.
Right.
Or I can go into other markets.
And not do it all yourself.
Exactly.
Have some people come in and do that with you.
And the staff, the staff's been great through the whole process. The staff's been great. But then there's things like, for us, we're going to save our agents a lot of money.
Right.
And when I talk about that, I mean, our cap is like 20, I think it's 21,000 is our cap of the company. And that's what it's got to be for us to run our company.
Sure.
And they understand that and they appreciate that. But we're now taking our agents from a $21,000 cap to a $16,000 cap, and we're giving them more benefits.
Right.
I think our agent office fee is almost $200 a month to get all the services they get, and they're great services because I've handpicked them, but they're not as good and as many as they're going to get here.
And you got some top producers who are going to icon.
Yeah, I've got
and
one.
And you've got other people who are going to become top producers.
They are.
And you got a passion about education, so. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, so in the education role over here, you're talking about getting 50 to 60 to 80 hours or more a week, that are available to you that are both live and pre-recorded.
But you were looking as an independent brokerage, how I want to provide training to all
my
of my
agents.
people.
I did.
Because you want those people to have the tools that they need, you know?
For sure, and and lots of times what's occurred ever since COVID is a lot of the associations and a lot of the different places, they're not providing as much as they were before because their hands are still tied with the things that they can do. They don't mean to do that, they don't realize they're doing that, but that's occurring. And so when the brokerage steps in and can help us through that process, it's really, really great. So there's a long list of things that we could probably sit here for hours and go on and on about. But I mean, if there's an agent out there who's considering, they should call us and talk to us, because it really is, it's like nothing ever that I've been through before.
So there was a slide in our general session. There was EXP1, EXP1, EXP1. I think in average price we might have been 4.
Yep.
And I was like,
number one. Yeah.
So if people want to find out why EXP is 1, give me a call George, talk to Knolly. Come find out what it's all about.
Love to.
And particularly, let's talk about independent brokerages, because there are a lot of mom and pop brokerages out there. I've been a broker since 2008. And I could hang my shingle, have 40 agents, 20 agents, whatever that number is. But when I looked at the overhead and what you actually could net out of that experience, it just wasn't the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
Well, we had a mastermind in Orlando that we actually ran those numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, they
so a big team had the same net as an individual agent with a couple of VAs.
Well,
it was like, what?
Yeah. So talk to that, because this is, especially in markets like this, and even when the market corrects. So let's say the next year or so is going to be like it has been, or maybe a little worse, or the same, whatever. And then, but also things are getting to be more digital, more AI, more things like that.
Yep.
So everything is kind of going toward cloud-based anyway.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
And so what do you see on the horizon for these mom and pops that have 20, 30, 40 agents, and they're really just trying to keep their doors open? How do you see this as a solution for them?
Well, so let's first talk about branding.
Sure.
Okay, so one of my biggest fears was losing my branding. So for everybody who's listening, if you don't know, my kids' names are on the door. So Mia's my youngest, Madison's my oldest. And so as a family, when I brought this home, there was a huge panic in the room. It was like, oh my gosh, and part of that's ego. Part of it is this, I look at it and say,
we're going to be EXP.
Well, those are my kids' names, and my kids are saying those are my names, and I thought I was going to take over that company or work at that company or be able to tell people that was my company and my name on the door. And so that was a big concern. But the situation truly is there's no change. They literally just said powered by or brokered by EXP, and now we're just an affiliation and a team member. We're a group that's working together, and they don't want to take my brand away from me. They don't want to grow necessarily be predominantly about the EXP brand. They want to be about the agent. Whereas a lot of these other brokerages, we know the big names and the big signs and all those things, they want to be about the brokerage.
Right.
They want the brokerage's name forefront, and everything else. So with a lot
Some
of
them don't even let you put your picture on the side.
No, you're right. I mean,
So you keep your identity,
I keep my
and you
identity,
get all the benefits.
all the benefits. And,
All the benefits of being with an international borderless brokerage.
Yep.
And all that comes along with that, but you keep Mia Madison, your family name.
And I get to run my brokerage continually the way I run my brokerage. So I'll tell you this, I'm a brick and mortar. I'm not going to close my brick and mortar because I have multiple businesses in my brick and mortar. It's where I enjoy going to. It's where my team is used to. And so just because this is a non-brick and mortar company, they save a ton of money. But if that brokerage decides they want to keep their brick and mortar,
That's right.
the broker, surprisingly to me, I told you this last night, the broker they've sent me a message this week. They want to come and visit me next week in my brick and mortar just to see it. They don't have to. They've already approved it. They've already gotten the pictures. They've already seen the signage and everything else, and they're happy with it.
Yeah.
Okay? But they've not changed anything the way I'm doing business.
Right.
What they've changed for me is my time.
Yeah.
They've given me my time. They've given my my clients more time because I'm gonna have more time with them. They've given my agents more time. They've given me more time with my agents and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But when it comes to these smaller, even larger brokers, I'm going to even say let's not minimize this to a 10 or 15 or a 30 agent brokerage.
Could be 200,
That's 200, 400, whatever it is. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about taking all those administrative things that we're really not good at anyway.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'll tell you, and this is hard to admit when people say this, but for me, all I had to do was hang my ego up.
Yeah.
I had to finally get over it and say, what is best for my family? what is best for my family in the office, what is best for us as a group.
Yeah.
And once I hung that ego up and said, the name on the door is still going to be the same.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put a little bit extra
You
there with
even get to
EXP.
use your colors,
Yeah.
your logo.
My colors, my logos.
Everything, yeah.
Nothing is
And
changing.
maybe someday you stop adding more things to your table and you can fish them.
Agreed. But like you said, all it is minor little change to the logo.
Yeah.
We're adding EXP as my broker on there, and they're going to support me in ways that I can't even imagine, in ways that I can't even explain today. So if you're a brokerage, or if there's a brokerage out there that you're considering making a swap, I mean, they really should consider it and listen to it and go through it. I mean, like you said, when you look at the statistics truly, I mean, what are we, 89,000 agents as of this week?
Yeah.
89,000 agents as of this week. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean,
And that's not a dent where we're going to be.
well,
That's right.
unless we haven't even talked about stock options, health benefits. We talked about the stock options we haven't talked about. I mean, and I'll be honest, I mean, y'all were surprised. You know, when I went to the shareholder summit originally, we finished, we were having drinks, and I said, I could have come here without you. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I already own the stock.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, I supported
You were
all these
already a
companies.
shareholder.
I'm already a shareholder. You know, so what I didn't realize is I already believed in the company prior to. But the biggest thing is a lot of people, you know, especially when we make our announcement over the next few days, a lot of people are going to say, oh, he sold out. Oh, he did this. Oh, he did that. Oh, he's a trader. That's not the case at all.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah,
You got to
well-
get the word out why you did it.
Yeah, well, what I can tell you is in our situation, all we did was benefit our people.
Right.
We put ourselves aside and we put our egos aside, and now we're benefiting our team.
That's right.
And on Monday morning when we get back in the office from this conference, nothing's going to change except for I have more support. My agents have more support, and the sky's the limit because now I have no boundaries. You know, once we go live.
It's important to remind myself and everyone, you know, you listening, that we have over 2,000 employees at EXP. Over
Yeah.
2,000. And they are good. I mean, they're really, really cream of the crop.
And they answer the phone, they answer the text messages, and I'll be honest with you, it's one of the things that I was highly worried about.
Yeah.
When we first got started, I was really, really worried about
One
it.
broker in the state of Georgia? You kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, and it was one of those things where ever since I was worried about it, I mean, they're answering. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. I told mine to the table, we were at dinner, I told mine to the table, I said, when I went to the first shareholder summit, I had an Explorer Pass, and then I finally flipped it over because I thought it was like the Truman Show. Everywhere I go, everybody was
great.
like, how
I
you
love
doing today? How you doing today? What can I help you with? How can I? And it wasn't just the people who were there volunteering. It was random people who were agents walking around going, how can I help you? And I just kept picturing the Truman Show, the Truman Show. And so finally I took my name badge off and flipped it around. And at one point I almost wanted to switch with him just to see, but they just kept going.
Yeah.
And then we went to some masterminds. And the masterminds got better and better. And you know, and then you're nervous to speak up, and I spoke up and said, hey, this is my opinion. And nobody looked back and said, well, who's that guy? He's not an EXP agent. Why is he talking?
Yeah.
It was never that way. It was like, oh my gosh, he's considering joining everybody. We should listen even more because he's going to bring new vision into the room.
Yeah, new value. New value.
I've just never seen anything like this.
Yeah, and the interesting thing too is that, you know, Glenn Sanford is an entrepreneur. You know, before he started, before he launched EXP, he had launched something like 16, 17 companies.
Yeah.
And he's a visionary, and so he doesn't want to take anything away from. He realizes that as entrepreneurs, we have ego, we have a lot of things mixed up, and so he wanted to create a company where we can continue to have as much of that proprietary feeling that it was possible. When you think, the way I think about it, George, is when you get a Dell computer. I'm a Mac guy now, but when I had a Dell computer, it was either powered by AMD or it was powered by Intel.
Yep.
But nobody cared. It was a Dell. You know? So it's still me, Madison, powered by.
Yep.
Nobody really cares what the operating system or the chip is on the thing.
Yeah.
It's still you.
It's still us.
And so
That's
you
great
really don't
analogy.
have to
It is.
give
That's
up
a
your
really good
identity at all.
Although I didn't know they still make Dell computers, but that's a great
that's a good
analogy.
analogy though.
That's a great analogy. I mean, and like I said, we could sit here all day long and go on and on and on, you know, about some of these things. But you know, if you're considering any type of switch or anything else, you really should consider coming over and having a conversation. No pressure, low pressure. You know, we just want to share and be collaborative. And the best word to say is pay it forward.
Yeah.
I want to pay forward. Now I'm in a place where organically I want to pay forward what you've done for me and what you've done for me, and what, like I said earlier, the 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 people we see standing over here, you know, looking around.
Yeah.
We want to pay forward but you organically want to pay forward and bring contribution to the
Absolutely.
room. You know, it's really crazy. You know, like I'll give you another one. We went to that networking event last night after dinner.
Yeah.
And as soon as you walk in the door, you know, normally you go into a room where you know no one and you're in the corner. You don't understand that. You know everybody. You don't understand that.
I know what you
but
mean. I know
you
what
walk
mean.
into a room.
That's why I got that hat.
Well, yeah, you walk into a room and you know no one.
Yeah.
It was not like that. When we walked into that room, you know, we took a moment, we sat our stuff down, and the first guy that came over, he was from Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And he came over and we kind of made eye contact. And normally in a room like that, you make eye contact and you go, you know, we made eye contact. He walked over and he said, "Hey, I'm such and such, and you're such and such, and I'm from Savannah and I'm from Austin." And I said, "Oh, how long you been with EXP?" 5 years. And he gave me a story and he said, "This is the best thing I've ever done." And his last question to us was, "So how can I help you today?
Yeah.
What can I do for you?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, why would you do anything for me?" And he said, "Well, you gave me some information, but you didn't even realize it, and I appreciate that, so I'm here for you.
Yeah.
But even if you wouldn't, I'm here for you."
Yeah.
And to hear that, it's really, I mean, it's really mind blowing.
Yeah.
You know, the situation that we're in through this. So, I mean, I can't speak enough about it.
Well, Knolly will tell you this, but we're put on this earth to support people,
That's
support
right.
each other.
That's right.
Not to be competitive and
Yep.
go to war and do
Yeah.
all these crazy things we do. So now you have an opportunity to do it
Yeah.
and be rewarded for doing that and build your life and help other people build theirs. It's amazing. Nothing else like it. And if you're part of it, you got a brokerage that you think is too big and the costs are going to be too much. Glenn has opened up the Boost program.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid to talk to you. I don't care how many agents you got. You know, let's talk about the Boost program and what that might do for you. So.
Well, and something else we should really kind of mention while we're talking about this is, you know, the referral program.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing a little bit of research a couple of days ago. You know, with us being an independent brokerage, we had no affiliation with anybody. Now, we had made a lot of relationships over the years through just different conferences and industry conferences and NAR and GAR conferences and that kind of stuff. But it was still very difficult to share referrals and ensure that everything would go the way you wanted.
Sure.
And
So
so,
let me jump in there because I got an actual case study. So I had someone that's coming to Pooler, Georgia. They're a family member that has a family member coming from Soldotna, Alaska, wherever the hell that is.
Wow.
Okay. So I got on my phone. I typed into workplace, the referral. Any agents in Soldotna, Alaska.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd get a call back. Within 5 minutes, I had 7 people who responded.
that's so cool.
I talked to the people that called me on the phone right away. I narrowed it down to what I felt were the 2 or 3 that would best suit this client.
Yeah.
And with the new app we got, I plugged
That's
in.
the key.
That's the
new
key.
app.
Yeah.
That's the key. Now you're talking.
So I got on that app and I had this person and I said, "I'm going to send this to you." I pushed her on her name, and it sent the agreement
and everything.
to her to sign, for me to sign, without sending the client's information,
Right.
prospect's information, and the broker to sign, and our broker to sign.
Yeah.
And before, when I'd done referrals, and I did them with EXP before the app,
Yeah.
but it was like, okay, well, I got to make sure I get this document,
Track 'em
digit
down.
sign, track it down, make sure they sign it.
Make sure you
want,
get paid.
I want them to reach out to their prospect immediately.
Right.
But I don't want to give them the information if they're not going to pay me.
Well,
so I want that agreement.
Exactly. And so what I'll tell
And
you
now
is,
it's like, boom, done.
that's a great example. But through this process, I sat down, and as you said earlier in the beginning, I do a lot of research. I've done a lot of research. I mean, we're recording this in October. I mean, these conversations started in January, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it's taken me that long to make a decision because of all the research and everything else. And it wasn't because you all were slow. You all were Johnny on the spot about it. It was just me trying to get through it. But I did some calculations a couple days ago before we got here. And looking at what we missed almost $20,000 in referral commissions over the last 6 months. Now, if we would have actually done those referrals, we would have made about $20,000. But we either couldn't find somebody or just looked at it and said it's just too much time consuming or whatever. Just you look in the phone book, look on Google, whatever it is.
Yeah. Right.
There were just time consuming issues.
Sure.
But then if you look at making $20,000, but how much time it would have taken me to actually get to the point to find a referral agent, the
plus
commission would have been lost to my time.
So this person is coming down to Pooler to buy a house through me. I'm going to know who that agent is.
Yeah.
So that, because when you start transition, you guys been doing this a while. It's not a simple thing of you sell your house and here you are, you buy this house.
Yeah.
That communication is very helpful in kind of making that happen. So now you built that into.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, so that affiliate, that referral program.
It's incredible.
Oh, and there's just so many. I mean, we could sit here all day if we talk about some of the affiliate programs and everything else. I mean, I don't know if y'all have looked at it. I'll say this too. I don't know if y'all have looked at it, but I was in the benefits breakout a couple days ago. It was a day or two ago, and they were talking about all the new things that EXP Solutions is giving us, and all the different places we can make additional revenues and those kinds of things. Oh my gosh! I mean, I'm looking at it and saying you could probably add $300 to $500 extra per transaction doing the things you already do. It's crazy.
So you're right, we could go for hours, but my film man here says we're about to run out of room. So I just want to say, welcome to the family. I am so
Thank you. I appreciate both y'all. So great.
Knolly,
thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Bless you.
And thanks for tuning in to the Dream Builders podcast. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next time.